Friday, March 25th, 2022. It's been close to 3 years since I started my crusade of breaking down comic book movies and shows. Since then, the amount of poorly written stories has only increased. Shows that I thought were good don't hold up or have been ruined beyond repair. And it's starting to seem like the majority of people would rather ignore flaws and praise a piece of media for just existing. Maybe it's pointless to look at film and TV with such a critical eye. Maybe it would be better off if I just went along for the ride. Or maybe pointing out the bad makes you appreciate the good that much more. What is up, YouTube? My name is G.I.Gio, and I loved The Batman. For a movie that had its production passed around more than a popular girl on prom night, it actually being released was more than enough to shock me. But the fact that it's also probably the best piece of Batman material we have gotten since The Dark Knight left me more stunned than your average COD 4 match. I wouldn't be surprised if the movie ends up being my favorite comic book movie of 2022. And yes, I know it's only March, but let that be a testament to the quality of the film. The characters are fantastic. I love these interpretations of both Batman and Selina Kyle. Having a more fresh-faced Batman works perfectly for this story, and him trying to figure out the role Batman and Bruce Wayne plays in Gotham's future is essential in making this plot work. Plus, the chemistry between him and Selina is subtle enough to not become the main focus of the story, but also strong enough to have the pair play off of each other very well. Not to mention, the movie's visuals are top-notch. Unlike what most newly graduates with a film degree would have you believe, the Batman doesn't look good because it doesn't do the simple shot-reverse shot. It looks good because each shot was crafted to give as much information to the audience as possible. I don't give a damn how unique your movie was shot, Phil. If I can't tell what the hell's going on, you might as well be showing me porn with how much I'm going to be paying attention to the plot. But y'all probably heard this before from most content creators who've seen the movie. And as much as I would love to continue in the circle jerk of this film, I wouldn't exactly be bringing anything new to the discussion. I'll leave the in-depth praise to someone like Hightop. As for me, I'm here to say that the Batman isn't perfect. As a matter of fact, it had one glaring flaw that made me drop my original rating from a high 8 to a low 7. Okay, I feel like I should explain myself. So, if you're curious about what could possibly be wrong about this internet-proclaimed masterpiece, then sit back as I explain the Batman's one fatal flaw. And if you end up enjoying the video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you'll always be notified when I release new content, and it helps the algorithm stuff. Also, follow me on Twitter where my inevitable mental breakdown will be broadcast. Also, obvious spoiler warnings for anyone who hasn't seen the movie yet. Now, to understand the major problem with this movie, we need to first understand the kind of story the film was trying to tell. You see, the character of Batman has always had the moniker of the world's greatest detective. However, much like my self-esteem, that aspect has been non-existent over the past couple decades. Sure, we got bits and pieces, but none of the prior Batman felt like they deserved that title. This is where the Batman comes in, as it puts the detective side of the character on full display. The plot at its core is a murder mystery, which definitely helps in making the film stand out from the other Bat flicks. However, this also means the way this movie is judged should also be different. Because the whole plot revolves around the mystery, its consistency is not only important, but essential for a good story. Not only do the steps the protagonist take to solve the case needs to make sense, but the audience should be able to put the pieces together alongside them, even if it may take a couple viewings. This is where the Batman runs into its roadblock, and it's not actually for the reasons that I just listed. What I mean is that while the thought process of solving the mystery made sense, the issue is that many important clues that helped to push the plot forward was a bit too convenient. Things seem to be resolved or brought to Batman's attention based on either dumb luck or inconceivable odds. The best way I can explain this without the fear of someone firebombing my house is to show where the movie succeeds in this first before questioning any other point. Let's start off with the murder of Gotham's Mayor Mitchell by the Riddler. This is what jumpstarts the entire plot, and is probably the best instance of detective work in the movie. From the initial crime scene, we get set up for the thumb drive that exposes the mayor's infidelities, giving a cipher for Batman to solve, and we learn that the Riddler has a special interest in the Batman. What makes this the best sequence of detective work is that each step leading up to the next clue has proper setup and requires our protagonist to use his intelligence to solve it. For example, after Bruce and Alfred solve the cipher from the crime scene, they learn that it spells out the word drive. Okay, so drive something, drive car. Alright, perfect. So Batman and Jim Gordon check out Mayor Mitchell's garage, where they find a car that the Riddler has marked. But how did Batman know what to look for once he got to the car? Well, remembering that the mayor's thumb was cut off his body post-mortem, and assuming it plays a part into the clue, drive, thumb drive. A thumb drive is a reasonable conclusion to come to. This leads our heroes to learning about the mayor's affair with a woman named Annika, and potential connection to the Penguin. This consistency and progression is what makes the star of the movie so great. The film doesn't pull anything out of its ass to help out our heroes. Rather, they purely rely on their own intelligence and the information they already have. This is what makes a great detective story, which only amplifies my confusion, as what happens next reminds me that even great writers can fall face first into stupid sometimes. For context, after Batman pins Penguin in the picture with Mayor Mitchell and Annika, he goes to confront him at his club. Batman interrogates him, but Oswald's not giving up any useful information. So that's it, right? Batman now has to find a new angle to attack this from. Hold it! Actually, no, because it just so happened that out of all the girls that could be serving Penguin that night at this point in time, we are introduced to Selina Kyle, who also just so happened to be the same person in the picture, and just so happens to be roommates with Annika. Look, there are coincidences, and then there is surviving playing Russian roulette with a full clip. Yes, I understand. Every film has some level of plot convenience, and I'm willing to accept that. Hell, an inciting incident is often a convenience. But this brings up an interesting question. When does a plot convenience start to hurt a film? Well, I'm under the belief that a convenience at the start of the movie to get the story going is fine. However, once the plot starts moving, that is when a plot convenience can become a problem. To put it simply, a plot convenience should be the spark that starts the engine, not what's moving the damn car. Now, how does this apply to Selina? Well, we see that not only is she surprised to see Batman, but she is also here to do a drug exchange with Penguin. Meaning, if Bruce or Selina were 5 minutes out of sync, then the plot ends up being drastically different. Seriously, think about everything that would change if Bruce didn't meet Selina here. He wouldn't have any leads on Annika, he would have never followed Selina and made her an ally, meaning he would have no idea about the club within the club that is home to a bunch of dirty cops and public officials, which means that Batman would be up creek without a paddle until the police commissioner dies and he finds a second set of clues, or the latest when the DA gets sent to Mayor Mitchell's funeral in 9/11 cosplay. Dear God, that was a dark joke. I'm going to hell. Okay, Gio, well, how will you fix the problem then? Well, I'm glad you asked, Strawman, because the change is actually really small. Make it so when Batman is fighting his way to enter the club, we cut to Selina watching the fight from a distance, and it sparks her curiosity. Then when Batman is with the Penguin, she can come in unprompted with a drink in her hand. Penguin can say something like, "What have I told you about coming into my office unannounced?" Selina then can reply with, "I thought that you may want a drink to ease the nerve." Penguin can then smile and turn to Batman and say, this one's a keeper. And then they finish their conversation. There, problem solved. This way, Batman noticing Selina is a result of her own actions, rather than a plus 10,000 odds of a drug exchange happening with her at the same exact time. Now, if this was an only instance of a big convenience, it honestly wouldn't be worth making a video out of. Unfortunately, for obvious reasons, this clearly isn't the case. Thankfully, the next few clues are planned out pretty well, with a possible question mark of Alfred not double checking to make sure that his Spanish was correct before deciphering the cipher left at the police commissioner's murder. Selina helping out Bruce was solid, especially with their chemistry, and I can make a whole video on its own about how much I love the funeral scene and everything leading up to it. But the next big blunder of the film is when Bruce and Gordon go to confront Penguin for the second time, and it devolves into a shootout with Selina thrown into the mix. The problem arises before the first clip is even loaded into a gun. For context, Selina got to the club before Batman or Gordon, as she's trying to find answers for Annika's disappearance. But it turns out her biggest fears became reality, as once Bruce got to the scene, she found Annika's corpse along with her phone in the back of a van. This ends up leading to her discovering that the crime lord Carmine Falcone personally killed Annika, as before she died, she was able to send a voicemail to Selina's phone that pins Falcone as her assailant. Now this is fucking stupid. Not on our heroes, no, but the crime lords. Can I ask a question? Why do you still have this girl's body lying around? I mean, the movie establishes that it's been a few days since the murder, so why isn't she tied to a rock at the bottom of a river somewhere? Actually, better question, why in the pasta making Italian did you not destroy that phone? For context, the voicemail on this device makes Falcone guilty as sin, so why in the name of Mussolini have you not gotten rid of it? What, are you running low on funds and you're trying to pawn it off? Do you need a second phone to hold all your porn? Like, what is the purpose of keeping this walking confession? The result of this one act of terminal stupidity is that the voicemail not only led to Selina trying to kill Falcone, but the message also got sent to the press, so arguably it's the only reason why the non-corrupt cops in the city were able to make an arrest. Plus, there's an argument that if he was never able to be arrested, the Riddler would have never gotten a chance to kill him. So this is quite literally a fatal mistake. God, if this is the average level of intelligence of a crime boss in Gotham, I'm surprised the city even needs Batman. Anyway, putting aside the conveniences that led to this, and the fact that Selina missed a point-blank shot that Stephen Hawking could have made, the arrest of Falcone was actually a very good scene, especially when Batman talks down Selina from killing him. It helps the audience to understand Bruce's morality, and also shows the contrast between him and Selina's worldviews. This scene leads to the eventual capture of the Riddler, and a very well done interrogation scene. It's here where we learn that even though he's now in Arkham, the Riddler's plan isn't over yet. So Batman heads back to his hideout to reassess the scene. And it just so happens that the one officer left to stay guard just so happened to know that the murder weapon was a carpet tool, because it was his dad's job or something. This led to Batman figuring out the Riddler's final plan to flood the city and in the chaos have his followers kill the newly elected mayor. However, Batman is too late to stop him, as the bombs end up going off, putting the Riddler's final gambit into motion. This is the final big convenience in the movie, and once again, it is the driving force of the plot. What if that cop wasn't there? Would Batman have gone back to the cave to figure out what the tool was? He clearly had no idea until the officer informed him, but then it would be too late. Gotham would be flooded, and Bruce would have no idea what's going on, let alone that the target was the new mayor. This is such a quick fix too. Just make it so that Batman figures it out on his own. Push back the explosion time and maybe have Batman use the computer that's in the hideout to find the tool. Maybe have him contact Jim and ask him if GCPD knows what it is. Just have him take initiative. It's better than Officer Bumblefuck over here basically spelling it out for him. Actually, if you really think about it, Batman did all with this case. Seriously, all Bruce figured out was the clues that led him to the club for the first time. But that was a dead end until Selina came in. And the El Rata clue with the second cipher didn't bring him any closer to figuring out who the Riddler was. Selina was the one to not only give him another lead, but also inform him about the area where the corrupt politicians hang out. Selina was the one who found the recording and played a huge role in the arrest of Falcone, which led to the Riddler's arrest. And if it wasn't for Officer Dip Tits over here, Batman wouldn't have even been aware of the Riddler's final plan. Deadass, what contribution did Batman make to get closer to solving the case? I'm starting to think that our world's greatest detective may lose that title pretty quick at this rate. The Batman is a solid movie with compelling characters, a beautiful style, and an actual fresh take on the Caped Crusader. However, while the film does have consistent cause and effect, there are just too many conveniences to overlook. Yeah, 1 is passable, 2 is kinda pushing it, but 3 is a stern talking to and a trip to the principal's office. The writers clearly cared about their work, and it's why all these problems just require small tweaks. It's not like DC's Naomi, where the writers are turning in their first drafts so they can go back to mixing 7 herbs and drugs. Oh, your day will come, Naomi, trust me. The Batman actually has thought and effort put into it. Sure, maybe I can forget about the insane amount of plot armor that Bruce has. Seriously, this man made out with the side of a bridge at full speed, and how Batman's relationship with the GCPD is unclear at best. But when your story revolves around a mystery, the resolution should feel like it was earned by the character's hard work and intelligence, rather than being at the right place at the right time. However, I will gladly take comic book movies like The Batman over 90% of the crap I have seen in my time as a superhero fan. I want more films where the entire cast is on their A game, where the writers try their damnness to be as consistent as possible, and where there is a clear effort in its creation. So go and watch The Batman, give it your support, but make sure you don't overlook its flaws. As to me, I feel like you're doing a disservice to the people who put so much time and energy into the film. It may not be the most infuriating as the other problems I've talked about on this channel, but this movie's plot conveniences is the Batman's one fatal flaw. Anyway, I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of the Batman? And did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you think it's a masterpiece? Or do you think there are some flaws that a lot of people don't really address? Another video in the books, and this one was a bit shorter. It's hard to make a video where I don't have a lot of negative things to say. And I feel like everyone's talked up this movie to death that I wouldn't have had a lot to add if there weren't these flaws with it. A lot of people say like, oh, there's a bunch of like negativity and stuff on the internet, and there is, but in the video essay community, there's a lot of people that will just praise everything. There really is. There's a lot of people that will praise everything, and there's a lot of people that will just shit on everything. There's very few people that are like in between that, and I try to dance along there to where I'll give praise where I feel like praise is deserved, and then shit on what I feel like needs to be shit on. Why do I keep cursing? I'm creating just so much extra work for me. But yeah, it doesn't take away from the movie. The movie's fantastic, honestly. I love The Batman so much. I can't wait to rewatch it. It just, there are these problems with it that do kind of damper like my big excitement of it. I still like it, don't get me wrong. I still really enjoy the movie. It's gonna most likely be my favorite comic book movie of this year. I don't see anything else coming up that would really kind of take that off its pedestal. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below if there's something I'm missing here. But yeah, just a really good movie, very well made. Just some flaws in there that could have been ironed out. Yeah, once again, the support you guys are showing are crazy. Like that Flash video, it just popped the hell. It just popped off, man. Like the Flash, I could just milk. I could milk the Flash for all that it's goddamn worth, because it's just such an easy target, man. Oh god, but there won't be a Flash video for a hot minute. I'd say at least a couple months. There's so many videos I want to make, and there's never enough time. I feel like I say this at the end of every episode. There's never enough time during the day. If I could have one superpower, it would be to pause time, just so I could have as much time during the day as possible, and to get actual sleep. Like, I'm always tired. Yeah, but other than that, I think we're good. Like, the next video, I'll be honest, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I'm up in the air on what is gonna be made, so I guess we'll all be surprised. But anyway, once again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys like to get new to the channel, hit that like and the subscribe button. Also, if you think this channel is blah, 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 blah. Also, if you think this channel has potential, hit those hit buttons. Anyway, my name is G.I.Gio, and I will talk to you all later. Peace. I need to record these during the day so I could do a proper clap. Peace.